He's a Hall of Famer, so we obviously give him much praise on that. Much congrats. 11 All-Stars, couple of NBA championships as well. He's now an author. We're talking about Chris Bosh. Chris, Tiki and Tierney, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Just you've always been at least on the surface, a laid-back dude. Even when you're going for 30 and 15 and blocking shots and throwing down dunks, like you're just a mild-mannered, seemingly very happy, well-adjusted guy. You really strike me as that kind of person, man.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I go through my things like everybody, but I always try to keep a cool head, but and even in basketball, I always just love expressing myself. I love getting intense too. I always wanted to be known as an intense player.
Yep.
I'm a player who, when the moment was on the line, came through because the focus and intensity of that focus pulled us all through. I always wanted to be that person.
Yeah, no, and you wrote this book, and I'm interested to look through it once we finally get a chance to read it, because it talks about your very sudden end to your career because of blood clots, and the fact that I remember this in real time, saying he'll be fine. They'll get an ultrasound. It'll go away. Things. Maybe he'll miss 6 months or so, whatever it may be. But right. I mean, you can't prepare for that because you were young. You were 31. You were in your prime. How hard was that to deal with, and when did you finally accept it?
I didn't accept it till a couple of years later. It wasn't until I saw Gordon Hayward have his horrific injury when he dislocated his ankle, and that was kind of the thing that just took the wind out of my sail. I was still trying to get back into the league. Discovering different medicines, just experimenting, trying different things, intermittent medicine for a while. And once I saw that happen to him, and this was in the first game I had watched in an actual year, you have to imagine too, as soon as I'm done playing, LeBron wins another ring. So those were emotions that I had to deal with. I was happy for him, but I wanted to be out there so badly because my friends are still doing tremendous things, and I feel I should have a shot at it. So it was very, very difficult, but I got through it. It was just a day-by-day basis. I fell into being a father. I had just had 2 twin boys, my twins who are 5 now.
Nice.
They were just born, and so it's just life keeps moving, and so I had to figure out a way to find some other things that I love doing in this new world, and just deal with it, and figure it out.
Well, you got to do some more acting. You were on Entourage back in the day, right? Weren't you on Entourage? You were.
Yeah, those are good times, man. Good times.
I think you had a drink in your hand in that episode, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. It's summertime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Summertime.
We all do. So, Chris, let me ask you this, Chris. Tiki and I were talking to the great Chris Bosh, Hall of Famer, and 11-time All-Star, 2 championships as well. So Tiki and I were going through, because Scottie Pippen does not love the way the documentary The Last Dance came out, the way he's depicted, and he's got his memoirs out. And Tiki and I branched into about how sometimes the Robin to the Batman, or that second figure, can get minimized here. I could see that being very frustrating. What I would see as more frustrating, and you dealt with this in Toronto, you get drafted, I think you were 4th overall, 4th, right, Chris? 4th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You go to a great world city, with a great cosmopolitan city, great fans,
for sure,
but you don't have a lot around you. What is it like to have the pressure of a city, a basketball community, when you don't forget about a second superstar, you don't even have an all-star? Like, how tough was that for you? That's tough.
It was tough. It's tough. But we still made an effort to put together good teams there. You learn that pro sports is extremely difficult, and if we're talking about winning a championship, we're talking about winning a championship. I remember one year, I think it was my next to last year, I wasn't even thinking about free agency. I was just thinking about the playoffs. It was incredibly hard. We were I think a couple games over 500 or right at 500, and we got beat, and we played the Orlando Magic in the 6-3 matchup. We were the 6th seed, and I mean, they just ran through us. They were a very good team, and it just, you take those lumps. That's the part about professional sports and being in the NBA. And, you choose what you want to do, and eventually it just came to the point where I wanted to win a championship. That's what I always wanted to do. I always felt that there was something else. And look, the Toronto fans, some of the best fans in the league, they treated me so well. I had a blast there, but just in the mix of how the league was at that time, that was we painted the picture that had to be seen. Yeah. So we wanted to be successful. There was pressure to win a championship, and it just felt like that now or never moment, and I had to make a decision.
Yeah, and you did, and you started a trend that, I mean,
not one, not two.
Well, forget that. Forget what they said. Forget what they said. Now every superstar wants to do what you guys did. When you guys, when you and LeBron and Dwayne Wade decided to get together and go down to Miami, or Dwayne was already there, obviously, and team up in Miami, did you foresee it being like the solution for organizations to win championships? Because that's the only way people win. I mean, Kawhi Leonard was the exception, obviously, up in Toronto. BT and I were just talking about that, but that's how teams are winning championships now. Did you guys think it would be like the blueprint?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, really, the only thing that's changed is just the market. The players are more aware of the market. That could be, traded and assets moved and all these things. And looking out, there is an element to taking care of yourself as well, right, within this complicated structure. And you have to make those decisions as well, right? It's fascinating, We were just doing things. I think we were just trying to be flexible. I know I was just trying to be flexible at the time. I wanted to win a championship. That was my number one goal, and this was the way to do that. And I think guys are more aware. Before, you kind of had to wait around on trades, and players soon found out that it's like, okay, you're in your late 30s or early 30s, and you're in a position to where you still have 4 years left on your contract, but you want to win, and let's be frank, we all dealt with that, and especially when Dwayne won that one in 2006, it put the pressure on. So I wanted to be like Kobe and Jordan, and they won a lot of championships. So that was my drive, to be like those guys who I had the posters on my wall,
Oh yeah. Listen, we can talk posters all day. I had Dominique Wilkins, I had my boy Patrick Ewing, I had Mark Jackson, who I loved. I mean, posters they don't make posters the way they used to, Chris.
No. Yeah, man.
Right?
That's a lost art, man. That is so cool. That is, was like, that's what I aspired to be. I would see it every day. They watch me when I sleep.
I love it. I love it. We're talking to Chris Bosh, who is now a Hall of Famer, also an author. The name of the book is Letters to a Young Athlete. The forward is by Pat Riley, two-time champion. And Chris, I've got a theory, and you know him well, right? I want to ask you about something about LeBron here. I watched LeBron, and listen, he's obviously getting older. He's still a beast. We all know that. He needs more help. Schroeder was horrendous. We saw what Magic Johnson said about Schroeder. He just, Tiki, I don't know if you saw that. You were around. Yeah. He said he's not a Laker. Wow. Okay. Okay.
Guess you won't be resigning.
Hey, the Lakers. I know. The Lakers, man. The Lakers.
By the way, I'm not saying that he's wrong when he said that, Chris. I'm not saying that.
That's cold-blooded.
That's just a part of being a Laker. It could come from anywhere.
No doubt, like a Yankee or some other organizations. But I watched LeBron, and he's still in great shape, and he's still a great player. My theory is this, Chris. It took me a long way to get here. I'm sorry. My theory is that LeBron James does not quite love basketball the way he used to. There's business, there's chasing Jordan, there's, legacy stuff, but the pure joy of the game for me, what I see, and I don't know him, you do, I feel like it's been stripped away for LeBron. Is that unfair?
I mean, I don't think, I wouldn't say, you have your opinion. I would say that there is a challenge to keeping the flame lit. And now, look, when we say keeping the flame lit for him as an athlete, we're talking about, people say you're falling off because you're only averaging 27 points a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and up until a few weeks ago or a few days ago, he was a defending champ and the defending NBA Finals MVP, and an MVP in the MVP race before he got hurt. So those are just parts that come with it. You always have to find a new challenge. But I tell you one thing about LeBron: he loves basketball, and sure, there will be days where it gets tough, but when you lose in the first round and you haven't lost, regardless of it getting tough, and I mean, think about it, they only had 2 months off, so we get cranky when we don't have our off season.
Yeah, especially when you're 36 years old.
Off season, it's no good for anybody, and and then that's not even that long. So, what was usually his time, he's gotten shorter, but. The Lakers, they'll be fine. They'll be right there in the position. He's right there in the driver's seat. And if he needed any motivation, he's got plenty for this year and plenty of time to sit, think, reset, regroup, see where he's at, because everybody in the league that's competing, they haven't even been able to do that for the last year and a half. They've been just playing basketball.
Yeah. Chris, you made a good amount of money playing basketball, and a lot of the superstars in the NBA do. And we have this cliche, this mantra that we say, the players own the league nowadays. They make all the rules. They determine where they're going to go in free agency. But I think there's actually a trend that's happening that I find very fascinating from a business standpoint. Michael Jordan's already an owner of a team. Your former teammate, co-champion Dwayne Wade, he buys into the Jazz, right?
Yeah.
Who knows if LeBron James might want to do that as well. I know we've heard him talk about that. There's this fundamental shift happening because of the wealth that's being afforded to you all as players that are allowing players to actually be owners. How is that going to change the game? Because it'll be very different when it's not all these old white billionaires, and now it's a bunch of former players who are also invested in or outright owning some of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, diversity is wonderful. You want to see diversity reflected in the business, just like the product. And the thing I love about basketball is that it is inclusive. Everybody loves it. And just being able to educate yourself on business. Dwayne Wade, obviously, he came out the gate swinging. I mean, we talked, but I was surprised. Like, that never came up in conversation. I know he has to keep it secret. Not that he has to tell me, but it's like, wow, that's crazy, man. You know what I mean? It's the craziest thing. And it's a model. And, guys can aspire. Men and women can aspire to accomplish their dreams. And you can be aware of these things a lot earlier. And even with LeBron, they own a piece of
Liverpool and
Liverpool,
and the Red Sox too.
The Red Sox, they're a part of that group as well, with their LRMR group. Yeah, it's just like, this is crazy. I mean, if you want to put together these things and aspire to do them and do the work, wow, it's amazing what you can accomplish. But I mean, it's all about the balance, right? It's all about being able to do that. Be a father, be a husband, be the best player you can be, and be a professional. And those are the things that can kind of, become more important as time goes on.
So we're wrapping it up here with Chris Bosh, Hall of Famer, author, Letters to a Young Athlete, forward by Pat Riley. So, Chris, let me ask you something here. Back in January, there was some tweet that was out there. So, have you seen the tweet? Teak, I'm taking him here. Have you seen the tweet where somebody said, and I paraphrase, I don't know exactly what that person wrote, that peak Bosh was not better than peak Randall? Has anybody sent you that?
Oh, yeah. Somebody brought that up. Yeah, I remember. And then people start making it a big deal.
Yes. Yeah. Well, hey, by the way, Chris, I sent the tweet, okay? I sent, and I tell you that because everybody, including your boy Dwayne Wade, including everybody, they hijacked my point. So I say this to you out of respect that there was so much context in that tweet that was lost. I wanted to tell you that, brother. I had to tell you that, Chris.
Oh yeah, hey, look, I love Julius Randle. He's actually a Dallas kid. You know, I've always kept up with his career. Always wanted to compete against him. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure it out against the young guys. That just wasn't meant to be. But just to watch where he's gone and the things he's been able to do with work. And you know what? I like where he is right now because it would have been too perfect to just advance in the playoffs. He knows he needs to get better. That's such a wonderful journey for him. And he's obviously improved because, he's seeing the benefits of the work that he's putting in. And I applaud him. He had a wonderful year. And I challenge him to get better next year. That's what it's about. Getting better next year, keep aspiring to do what you can do, and just know that now the real work begins because now everybody's got the scouting report on you. Mm-hmm. They might have had some success, and they know they've got to bring it because, this is a player who's not joking around.
He is serious. No, I got you. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.